Hello everybody. So this is a look in the dark. The chapter is the cards on the table, and this is the third part of that chapter. They've met together, Danny, Carol, Ricky and Sue, and they've decided that it's best that they present the information to the police, the Royal Society for the Protection of Birds, Customs and Excise, and a rather radical MP all at the same time, and then tell them that in a week they'll be going to the authorities to tell them, or in a couple of weeks to tell them, to the newspaper to tell them and give them the same information. But they've decided also that their lives could be in danger even if Stanhurst was in prison unless they get offside. So they've decided that they need to hide themselves away and not be visible when the investigation comes to light. Not because they're ashamed of what they've done, but because of their own safety. So we finished up the last chapter where Danny said, yes, we've done all we can, best if we just slip unnoticed out of the side door and let these people take all the credit. We will enjoy reading about it. Sue glanced up from what she'd written and met Danny's eyes. He knew she was ahead of him. She looked back at the writing and read, as we carry forward the above points, we will maintain anonymity now and always, this being a matter of concern for the safety of ourselves and our loved ones. That's great, Sue. Just read the 4 points again. Danny, Carol and Ricky listened to the London lass summarise the serious conclusions they'd reached unanimously. 1. We do pass on all information soon, date to be decided. 2. We contact at the same time the following: RSPB, Police, Customs and Excise, David Brentland MP. 3. We inform these authorities that 2 weeks later we will be passing all the records we have given to them to a well-respected media person. And now 4. As we carry forward the above points, we will maintain anonymity now and always, this being a matter of concern for the safety of ourselves and of our loved ones. Danny added, there are others who have helped us, Theo and Paul and our friends on the border. We have to make these 4 points known to them also, at least to Theo and Paul. Paul will tell the others. I'll ring Paul tonight, Dan. Thanks, Carol. And Sue, would you like to phone Theo? I'd love to. Now careful, girls, you never know who's listening. Make it bland and clear only to Theo and Paul. Carol was laughing. But Danny added, it's you got me like this. You think every phone in Ulster's tapped. Anyway, it's good to be cautious. So, boys and girls, Ricky was grinning, when do we plan these meetings with the men in blue, etc.? Sue said very quickly, Monday at 2 in the afternoon. Carol was pleased to see her young friend taking the initiative. Any particular reason, Sue? Yes. This is Wednesday, and it'll take a few days to coordinate our meetings, and we want them to be exactly the same time. Also, the only thing of worth I learned working for that creep Stanhurst was if you want something done, contact people on Monday, and they've got the whole working week to get on with it. It appeals to my wicked sense of humour that the one valuable thing he taught me should be used as a weapon against him. The last Monday in July should mean we can enjoy some peace in August while we watch the fruits of our labour. Ricky clapped and the Greens joined in. Bravo, dear girl, bravo. They all discussed the need to enlighten Sue's parents that events were about to take place, but without telling them any more than they had to know, and Sue said that she would ring them before she rang Theo. OK, lads, now our personal safety is taken care of, Sue and I will have a drink, please. Ricky poured the 4 of them a fairly generous glass of Bell's whiskey, mentally remembering that he must bring a bottle as a gift on his next visit. As the 4 sipped at the glasses, he said, well, friends, I have a proposal to make. Hopefully they weren't slipping at the glasses. Not to Sue, surely, Carol joked. She's far too young. Sue's embarrassment, Ricky's frown and Danny's look gave Carol the feeling she had played the comedienne at the wrong time. The very smart-looking aristocrat continued, you know, my 3 very dear friends, I have never enjoyed myself as much for years, I guess, since poor Penny died, sacrificed to the establishment's stupidity. Well, I've lived on the edge a bit. I've never condoned violence, drug smuggling or gun running, but I've been guilty of antique and art smuggling and have handled goods I knew to be stolen. I think I've been using it as a way to battle against the very establishment I was designed and educated to be a part of. All three sat listening, each of them seeing a side of Sir Richard Claymore that he usually kept hidden. His throat sounded as if it needed to be cleared, and his voice was thinner than usual. Sue could see from where she was sitting that his eyes were moist. Nobody spoke. All waited for him to continue. Penelope Moulton Forbes. Did I ever show you her picture? Still no one spoke, but Carol shook her head. Opening his wallet, Ricky took out a black and white photograph of a very pretty young woman in naval uniform. They passed it around. She is beautiful, Sue whispered, only just breaking the silence. Sir Richard finished his whiskey and poured more into all the glasses. Yes, Sue, Penny was beautiful. Not just on the outside, her personality was even more stunning than her looks. He wiped a tear with a wet red and white spotted handkerchief. That picture was taken when we first met. As you can see, she was a wren, and she loved the sea like nobody I ever knew. However, she was noticed by our commanding officers for her intelligence, grace, and wit. By the time we were engaged, she was attached to the secret services. The Cold War was just getting going. Penny thought she was fighting to save the free world. Mind you, the dear girl did get rather disillusioned, but of course would not talk about it much. We were to be married when she came home from her last mission. She even had a civilian job lined up. We were going to live in Weymouth because Penny had a special love for Dorset, and we could have a yacht, moored there or at Portland or somewhere nearby. That last mission took her into Eastern Europe. I didn't know what for. She was too loyal to her principles to tell me. She came back over the border from Hungary into Yugoslavia and then into Greece. 2 high rankers were to meet her in a small bar in a place called Katerina. They would debrief her in Greece and then get her home. They failed to show up. Penny knew she was in danger. She took some documents to a forest that night, buried them in a location near the road and just past the crossroads. She posted a letter to me with the location. She had got that she didn't know who to trust anymore. She told me she was in danger and that she was sure they would get her home, but if not, it was essential to world peace that I give the map references to the authorities. 2 days later, some children were playing in a field just outside Katerina. The poor children found my fiancée battered around the head and with her throat cut. Carol and Sue were both sobbing gently. Just give me a minute and I will continue, Ricky said. Who, Rick? Why? Danny was stunned. I let it be known that I knew the location of certain documents that Penny had hidden, and after the poor girl's funeral I was picked up and taken by 2 strong silent chaps to a farmhouse where her superior officer met me. He gave me all that rubbish about my bright, intelligent and beautiful girl dying for the cause of freedom. I argued with him, because the people to meet her did not show up. He sympathised, excused it as something of a mix-up. I knew there was more to it than that. At first I told them they could all go to hell. I knew there was more. I wouldn't tell them where the documents were. They didn't seem concerned enough about that anyway. But later a second man, a gentle and persuasive type, got a map of the Katerina region, and he reasoned that I really would have not wanted Penny to die in vain. Nobody would tell me why she had to die at all. If the documents were so important, why were they and she never met at the bar in Katerina? In the end, after a lot of arguing and implied threat, I decided for the sake of the girl I loved I would give them the map reference, but I refused to give them the letter that Penny had sent me from Greece. They really wanted that, but I refused. The 2 men who had failed to meet up with Penny were decorated that year, and her commanding officer was knighted. I knew something was all wrong, but I couldn't get any answers from anybody, not with all the connections I have. 2 years later, I obtained a clock that had been manufactured in Russia for a friend of mine, who in turn wanted it as a present for a Russian diplomat who had helped him secure a lucrative business contract in Moscow. The clock was worth a lot of money, being only one of 5 of its kind and being nearly 200 years old. The Russian diplomat, Yevgeny or someone or other, he was very grateful. The conversation over a few drinks between my friend and Yevgeny became a bit daring, and so my friend raised the matter of my fiancée. I was totally crushed at the time and in despair. So my friend's concern for me, along with too much vodka, led to him raising the subject. The fact that it was the man who obtained the clock who wanted answers interested the diplomat. 3 days later I got a phone call. Yevgeny wanted to talk to me. He appreciated the clock, he said, and had some important information for me. I wasn't sure what to do. I hated the British establishment, but I didn't desire to get lured into some trap to spy for the Soviets. I have no love for their brand of communism either. Another drink, anyone? Nobody objected as Ricky drained the bottle into the 4 glasses. Clearing his throat, he continued. Anyway, we met up in Hyde Park. We sat on a bench. I don't know whether it was one of their chaps or one of the British crowd, but the chap at the next bench was watching. I wish dear Penny had never got mixed up in all this. So Yevgeny and I had a little chat, and he tells me that Penny had been involved in an operation involving one of the Soviet bloc, but not Russia. She had come back with documents, but though she believed they were important, she was in fact a decoy. She had been followed, picked up, questioned, even tortured by the agents of the nation concerned. Dear loyal Penny had given no information at all, and while she was being given attention, the agent with the really important documents had come out of the communist regions via Austria. By the time Penny was found, both he and the documents were safely in London. I told the diplomat Yevgeny, I told him I thought he was lying. He said, I understand that. He felt sure that I would think it was just Soviet propaganda. I will never forget what he said. I can see him sitting there on a cold grey morning. Sir Richard, he asked in his impeccable English, do you still have a record of where your young lady buried the documents? I still had Penny's letter, of course. Yevgeny continued, you're a rich man. Travel, it is easy for you. Go to Greece, and I guarantee that you will find that the British intelligence services have never bothered to collect the documents she brought out of the country I'm referring to. Then you will see it is not only Russia that lies. I'm not involved in espionage, and I really wish it was not the way it is. But I do think you have a right to know that your fiancée was sacrificed by your country. So, revelations about Ricky's past, the death of his fiancée. Life's pretty cheap in this system, so a story that reflects that is fair enough, isn't it? So, what happened? Did Ricky follow through and find out whether it was true? You have to listen to the next one to find that out. And then, of course, the story develops to the wind-up of this investigation. Hope you're enjoying it, and thank you for sticking with me. And if you want to share this with anybody, I'm putting this onto the internet for free because I just like to tell stories, write stories and tell them. If you want to share it anywhere, be my guest. I don't mind, if you think it's worth it. Nice to share it with you, and Kate and I send love and peace to you all, my friends. Bye bye for now. Next episode to follow soon. Bye bye.